Natural resources. Natural resources are minerals or elements that are extracted from the earth, which are then used for economic gain. Some examples are sunlight, water, land, oil, and stones. The natural resources that are extracted from the environment are then used for human purposes. An example of a very famous and well-known natural resource is petroleum, which is a natural occurring liquid that is found beneath the Earth's surface, and it can be refined into fuel. Humans use large amounts of petroleum, and since this is a non-renewable source of energy, it will end out at a point of time. We are overexploiting this resource, and at a point of time there will be no more for us to use and for the future generations. The consumption of natural resources is rapidly increasing as we depend on them more and more and as our population increases. If resources are overexploited, serious damage can be done to our natural environment. Resource conservation is needed in order to maintain ecological balance. Sustainable conservation of natural resources is the process that uses resources rationally while keeping the preservation of our natural environment in mind. Let's learn more about the conservation of natural resources and the ways we can conserve our resources.
Let's start by talking about one of our most basic resources, water. Water is a common necessity in all of our lives. Without water, we couldn't even survive. Already, more than 1 billion people around the world lack access to safe, clean drinking water. And consumption is still rising every day. This is becoming a very serious issue. And at this rate, future generations will not even have enough water for drinking purposes. Without water, our agriculture is also affected. Any water shortage faced will affect the ability to provide the second staple of life, food. If we were able to conserve water, it would provide many benefits. This includes minimizing the effects of drought and water shortages. Conserving water also helps in preserving our natural environment. We should be much more careful with how to conserve water. So here's a bit on what we could do.
Here are 6 ways to sustain and conserve natural resources. 1. Decrease the amount of water you use. For example, convert the toilets in your house into low flush toilets. 2. Follow the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Number 3. Use sources of renewable energy. For instance, install solar panels on the roof of your house and use the energy trapped by the panels to power your house. Number 4. Turn off any electrical appliances when you aren't using them. The lights, the fan, air conditioning, anything. Number 5. Try thrift shopping. The fashion industry uses a lot of natural resources in order to create an article of clothing. Try to purchase clothes from the thrift shop or on apps such as Poshmark and Depop. And lastly, choose to use renewable goods instead of non-renewable goods.
Rainwater harvesting. What is rainwater harvesting, you ask? Well, a rainwater harvesting system is one of the easiest ways to conserve water. These systems use rainwater, and instead of filtering the water for just drinking purposes, you can instead use this water collected from the rain for activities such as flushing the toilet or washing the dishes. It is a much more effective way of minimizing water wastage. And instead of letting rainwater seep into the ground or go into sewages, you are instead collecting it to be used within the household. There are different types of rainwater harvesting systems. The 3 main types are direct pump systems, indirect pump systems, and indirect gravity systems. For households that want a more simple form of rainwater harvesting, they can choose to create a rainwater harvesting system where all the water can be collected. You can also implement a water butt, which is the most basic form of rainwater harvesting. The water is collected in a fountain from a drain piper or rainfall. This is mainly used to water plants in a garden. Either way, whatever system is used, rainwater harvesting on a large scale can really help in conserving water and minimizing our water waste.
Rainwater harvesting. Our constantly growing population limits access to clean drinking water. In addition to this, natural resources are constantly depleting. By 2035, 40% of the world's population will live in an area that is subject to water stress. Although we receive large amounts of rainwater, it's often not recycled or reused. Through rainwater harvesting, we can prevent several water crises. So, what are its benefits? So, one, rainwater harvesting is not expensive at all, and it helps reduce the water bill, decrease large demands of water, promote water and energy conservation, and reduce the need for imported water.
Jalapur is located in the heart of Madhya Pradesh and lies 15 kilometers from the river Narmada. With a population of 2 million people, the rapidly increasing population is making summertime seem like a nightmare. The water supply is rapidly decreasing throughout the years. This city was previously known as the City of Lakes, surrounded by beautiful water bodies, but they've lost their flair. These water bodies were replaced with areas to deposit waste material and concrete buildings. No one is taking the environment into consideration. People are now fighting and standing in large queues just to get a sip of water for themselves. Due to water scarcity, tube wells are being dug in every colony that is newly constructed. The fall of the water table made the situation even worse. For these people, groundwater, water from the river Narmada, and rainwater are the three main sources of water. So, how can we use rainwater harvesting systems to solve this large water crisis? The water flow of the Narmada River is because of the rains in the upper area of Jabalpur. If the rainwater is tapped, the water crisis could be put to an end. If underground water storage tanks can be built to harvest rainwater were implemented, the water crisis would be put to a halt, and they could also recharge the groundwater. This is an example of how we can use rainwater harvesting systems to help solve water crises. Rooftop rainwater harvesting systems should also be made essential, and the registration of colonies should not occur without a rainwater harvesting system in place. Replacing the previous natural water bodies and rivers with a rainwater harvesting system can largely benefit the city of Jabalpur.
Let's take a second to revise everything we talked about. 1. Our human race has been rapidly increasing. 2. We should be conserving our resources to help maintain an ecological balance and save the resources for future generations. 3. Our natural resources need to be conserved in order to promote social and environmental sustainability. The Earth's natural resources consist of air, water, soil, minerals, plants, and animals. 4. Water is the main primary source of human life. 5. More than 1 billion people lack access to safe and clean drinking water. 6. In order to ensure that everyone around the world has access to water and other natural resources, we need to start conserving them now. 7. We can take small steps to conserve water and natural resources. And finally, 8. Installing a rainwater harvesting system can help solve several water crises and would really help reducing, reusing, and recycling water.
Thanks for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and hopefully you learned something new from this video and will continue to follow these practices to sustain natural resources.